Okay. Saw 6 of 10. It's the Solo model 633 top-handled saw, made in Germany. It had the handle cracked, so I glued the handle back together. I thought, anyway, that's a piece of the handle fell right there. Temporarily, and check for spark. It's got good spark. Problem is it's missing the throttle linkage that goes from the inside handle there down to the carb. So I can pull this cover off here and see if I can make up some sort of linkage. So that's my plan of attack for this saw right now. And this saw there seems to be some interest on. It seems like I could always part it out on eBay. See if I can get it running. Sell it locally, all in one piece. I'd rather do that than deal with eBay. I've only sold like one thing ever on eBay. By the time you pay the fees and everything, it just wasn't worth the hassle at all, honestly. So I don't want to break anything on this saw in case this housing is worth something in the end. Our bulb is still intact, usually those are cracked. Losing motivation on these 10 saws already, that's for sure. There's no big ticket items. Plastic parts come out separate, but it seems to want to pull the whole carb out, and I don't want that. Choke is attached to this part as well. Maybe this cover here. No, that's part of the housing there. Typical Germans. Make things hard to work on. Overcomplicated. Great product. Okay, continuing the Solo 633. I was able to make a linkage. I'm not sure if you're able to see it in there. Back here. Boy, anyway, it's right there. It's not perfect, but at least it's throwing the throttle. We can try it out. I think it's going from idle to full open. Look inside there, and it's hard to see, but let me get your light in here, see if we can. So there's the throttle, butterfly, opening and closing. So I think we're honestly ready. Put some fuel in this thing and see if she'll fire up. Stay tuned. P.S. I did a lot off camera for getting that linkage. It took forever. I pulled linkage from an old, I don't know, Briggs & Stratton motor I had laying around. I had a newer linkage that was from a Husqvarna saw that I just bought, a spare one. But the metal was so, I don't know, brittle that once I bent it twice, it just snapped. So anyway, that'd have been a better linkage to use, but we'll see if this works. It's kind of at a weird angle. We'll give it a go. Okay. Primed it a little bit, the priming bulb. Choke on. Hopefully the handle stays together. Alright, stay tuned. Okay, so we definitely got a fuel issue. The primer bulb is working, but I'm just hearing air hissing out of there and air coming in here. So it might be a. So I pump this up so to get a hiss from somewhere in here. And I hear little puffs back here, but I don't think it's pumping fuel into the carb. I've tried priming it a lot of times, so I pull the side cover off here, See if I can see the fuel lines, make sure they're fully intact. Because the fuel line doesn't look cracked. Runs all the way back here, so you have your primer which pushes air into this line, which goes into the tank. And then it pressurizes the tank and pushes the fuel up through this line right here, which is the fuel line that goes to the carb. Maybe those reversed, but one of those either goes in or out. And there's a third tube up here. I'm not sure you can see. The handle's in the way. That must be a breather line in the upper left there. So regardless, I don't see fuel in either of these two lines. So okay, the Solo 633 is alive. Put a new primer bulb on there. It's filled with gas. I'm not sure if it's normal or not. It's running lean. With choke on, it seems to run out, but then you turn the choke off and it kind of sputters out. So it's not getting enough fuel. And it's over oiling like crazy. Oil's coming out on the bar. I'm glad it's oiling, but I just got to figure out where the limiter screw is on this thing, or if there's an adjustment, because this is getting sloppy down here. Anyway, step in the right direction. I don't see an adjustment on this oiler. If you know of an adjustment on this Solo 633, where the location may be, send me something send me a comment in the chat. Or chat in the comments bar, and we'll see if there's something I'm missing here, but I don't see anything obvious as far as a adjustment screw. So that's it for now. All right, well, I'll pull the fuel filter out, blow that out, maybe replace that, and see if that helps it run any better. Okay, so the original filter is a much larger ID for the hose compared to the replacement ones I have here. I'm just wondering if I could slide this up over top of the higher part on this filter. It has no barbs there, it's going to slip right off. Yeah, it's not going to stay in place. Don't think. Oh. I stay in place well enough for a test run, so I'll try it with this other filter. See if it'll run a little better. Check the fuel levels. There's not. I'll put a little more fuel in there as well and try it out. Those tricky Germans made this exhaust very difficult to put on. These studs here are just slotted, and they have to slide down to the slots that are in the. I Let's see from that angle. These studs here slide down the slots that are in the engine. If you hold the saw the regular direction, they just kind of fall out. So these studs go through the muffler, and then this other screw right here actually helps lock those particular screws or those studs into the right location without slipping out. So those Germans. So that's through. Find the center screw. That's. I'm taking the nuts back on. Easier. So that's very I'll down and shoulder. Okay. One, two, that's that. And then this little piece of muffler goes on right here. Blow ready slightly out. And away from the under the vents. There. A lot of oil in there, huh? Yep. Of course, the bar oil I did put in there is kind of it's old stuff. It's bar oil, but it's also, I think, has some mixed motor oil in there as well to thin it out. So maybe that's why it's over oiling. And if I put pure bar oil in there, it would work better. So, okay, we'll put this pre-filter on and the cover on with the new fuel filter and see if that runs any different. Okay, ran outside again. The fuel filter changed, did nothing. It still bogs out at full throttle with the choke off. So we're gonna have to get into the carb and see what's going on there. Meanwhile, we'll swap the old fuel filter back in because that seems to be working about the same as the new one. Okay, the third time taking this carb out. Take these screws all the way out, it's best. So the plastic air filter housing can come out easier. Saw's giving me a run for my money here. This plastic piece should just rotate out like that. There are two fuel lines on this carb, one down bottom. So we can put the camera right in front. This one down here just slides off. The other one is the inlet for the fuel. Just right up over here. So I'm just going to take a flathead screwdriver, hold that while I pull the carb down, just kind of push that off the barb. I think I'd have this down by now, seeing it's the third time I pull this fuel line off. Okay. Comes the fuel leaking. The carb. We disconnect the throttle linkage. Got to work the choke lever around the housing here, and it should walk itself out. Okay. Boy, my workspace is not clean here. Let's clean it up a little bit. I don't have a rebuild kit, so I got to be careful here with the diaphragms. Of course, I'm out of carb cleaner as well, so that's going to make this job a little more difficult. Not fuel filter. I use a primer. Fuel in the carb processing through the intake of the carb. Just don't have something. Okay, I had a carburetor repair kit for a Tanaka weed trimmer I had. Looks like it's the same diaphragm, so let's get that out. See if I. That is check. No way. Sorry. Here, so here, come on. Let me show you. It's a little bit here. So it's okay. Nice. That's one first. Okay, painful as that was, seems to be in place now. I don't have any good tricks for you there, so hopefully you guys know how to do that, because that was painful. Just make sure the spring is locked in there and around this lever arm right here for the needle for the float. Looks like the diaphragm is actually gasket for the old one. I'm sure it's still working. I'll put it back in if I find issues with this one, but I'm going to try to see part of it. It lines up perfectly. So the gasket down first, and then on top of that will be the diaphragm. There's not an actual leg in the gasket, and the outside of that should not matter. The orientation is little, that hole doesn't matter here, so. Not saying obviously wrong with this carb, but place the parts that match up if we can. Doing the carb, there's this sheet for plastic there, top of the gasket. So let's see if the parts in the kit. No, that looks good for the gasket. Can't have this parts here. This actually lines up. Okay, that's pretty much simple. So, alrighty. So I have the new parts ready to go here. Put this screw through here probably just to keep everything aligned as I put this down. No. Okay, so what I did is I installed or hooked up the inlet side for the fuel line first, worked it in, and put the other line down. I'll put the throttle linkage on here off camera. Okay, so I have the throttle linkage hooked up. Both fuel lines are on. Okay, then we'll just stick this piece in here. I found if you put the left side in first, slide in a little easier. Okay, install these two screws. Just unlock the carb into the cylinder. Now we'll purge. So I don't see any fuel squirting in. So this isn't a primer, it's a purger. Go outside and give it a run. Alright, this saw is taking a long time to get here. We'll see if it actually fires up and runs now. Ah!